Garry, they are all yours.
Thank you. You know, I'm expecting some point when you hear something funny, I want a laugh track, okay? You got the applause handle, I want a laugh track.
He's got it.
So, oh, love it. Okay, focus. So I'm Garry Schleifer. I've been a member of the GCA for a super long time. I was introduced by Tim Kincaid, and I've just been watching and contacting one after the other different members. And one of the members that I don't know what it was about him until I talked to him, that it just really popped. This man is got to be 200 years old for all the stuff he's done, but he's really only 29. He is, every time I talk to him, I learn more about him and I want to know more, and we run out of time. So we're going to try and encapsulate some of the stuff, and we're going to have some fun too, because he knows almost as much about all this background stuff as Alan and Mark put together. So you just wait and see. We're going to have some fun. But let me tell you a little bit about him first. So he describes himself as a design thinking innovation consultant, a visual and virtual facilitator, and a transformational coach. He began his career in technology and innovation with none other than Apple when they started the Macintosh. And I'm going to ask you about that. So yeah, you can hide, but we're going to ask. Notable points in his career include creating innovation incubators and embedded innovation groups. Another thing I want to know a little bit more about that I didn't know about before. And he's been doing that in engineering consulting businesses, pharmaceutical IT companies, and the US Navy. Probably got a tattoo under that shirt too. He's worked in educational institution from K to 12, higher ed, and fully online educational institutions in implementing and blending technology and social media for improved internal communication and developing online learning before the COVID pandemic popularized online and hybrid learning. So he's ahead of the curve. Yes, remember, 200 years of experience in a 29-year-old body.
Yeah.
Mark, ba-dum-bum, thank you. There we go. Tommy Carson Show and the laugh track. Oh my God. Dean designs and facilitates strategic planning, business development, and organizational change work across all kinds of industries and businesses, and for the C-suite to international all hands using Lego Serious Play. Go back to our past, Lego, yes, visual tools in the room and remotely. And he's a VR and AR for the most innovative clients. And he's got some amazing clients: Google, Salesforce, Columbia, NYU Stern School of Business, federal, regional, local, governments, Johnson & Johnson, et cetera, et cetera. So enough about that. You can read the rest of over there. But okay, Mr. 200-year-old experience in a 29-year-old body, did you get to meet the man when you worked at Apple?
Well, which man do you consider the man? You know, there are those who are, which Steve?
Either. I'll take either.
Yes. Yeah. So I went to work for Apple. I was the first sales and tech representative for the Caribbean region because I lived in Puerto Rico from 1983 to 1986. So my territory was the entire Caribbean. And then I wound up working when they established Apple de Mexico, which was the manufacturing plant. They sent me to Mexico to teach them what the heck they were building. Yeah, and then Venezuela and other parts. So yes, I did wind up getting to meet both Steves. I'm actually, if he were alive, I'm actually only 6 months younger than Steve Jobs. So wow. You can start to guess my age. And I was 28. I was 28 at the time.
So 29 and a half. Got it.
Right. So
yes. Okay. So this one I don't know, and I have no idea what this is. what do you mean by creating innovation incubators and embedded innovation groups?
Okay, so
It sounds covert.
well, it is kind of covert because there's a lot of ways of doing innovation, and one thing that was starting to happen were companies who were trying to make that shift into the world of innovation. They figured that they started to find out that the innovation theater thing, bringing in a guy like me to do a workshop, 2 weeks of workshops with management, went nowhere. And so the next idea was, well, we will set up a corner of a business internally, and we will either bring in some of our existing people, or we will bring in people from outside, and they will become a center for that to function. It also becomes a standalone line in the business, and that's particularly what happened with the Navy. I was working with a group, the Center for Security Forces, CENSEC 4, which is out of Norfolk, Virginia. They're a learning institution. They teach security. I put it in air quotes because it's more than just security. But it is a course, a built program, 42 courses, 14 learning centers around the world. And the head of the group, the captain, decided he wanted to do innovative practices. And so he said, I want to set up an internal incubator. I want to take some space and bring in you and a couple of other people and start to run these innovation experiments for our learning centers to try and inculcate innovation in our methods of teaching and to address the issues that we see are gonna happen with this. It was the how might we, which is a big design thinking thought, was how are we going to turn the sailor of 2025, and this was 2016, into people who are able to deal with the technology issues and so on and so forth, and how are we going to get our learning development specialists and instructors to be able to work with these people. My answer was, oh, so you're talking about 8-year-olds right now, the ones who have all these devices in their hands right now, who are going to walk in in 10 years and take your classes with a guy showing a PowerPoint thing of a gun on a wall. So
that's a good point.
So again, this idea of trying to make an innovation center within a big organization is the way a lot of these companies are going, and now you're finding them in schools. Educational institutions are creating them. I did some work with Queens College here in New York with their innovation center, or the incubator, and that's what these things are.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. So we talked about some other aspects of your life, and one of them was what you're working on now, some new stuff, and also we talked about how out you are. Hint, hint.
Yes. Well, the pandemic really affected me in an interesting way, in that technologically, I was completely prepared to work 24/7 remotely, because I have been working remotely going back to when I worked for Apple.
Oh, wow.
Cupertino was out there.
That's true.
And I was in Puerto Rico, and when they got letters from clients complaining about Apple computers in Puerto Rico that were mailed to Cupertino, they were mailed to me, and I had to work remotely with Cupertino. So it's just, as the technology has increased, we get more capabilities. But what I did believe and what I did see is that the people and social skills that people need in order to function in a healthy way were becoming very heavily affected. And I felt also, because I'm a gay person who's been out since I'm a teenager and never really went into the closet in all of my all of my working environments, I felt that the socialization that we don't get, particularly as we use more and more and more technology, made me want to focus on the transformational coaching of working more with people, on integrating their lives more directly with coping, coping with the social things that they need to work on. And so that's why I went into getting my accreditation, joined the GCA. So, I think that's the kind of things we were talking about. I just wanted to be more out, and also offer, be more of do more outreach to help, gay people deal with life under COVID and beyond.
Well, and you're obviously a technology guy like forever. Now, what we were talking about being out in tech?
So out in tech there are a couple of organizations that have really decided to take on the issues that our minority, and I'm going to use that term broadly, has to deal with. And one is Start Out, and I do mentoring with them, and they focus a lot on entrepreneurs, and particularly gay entrepreneurs. Oh. And Out in Tech specializes, they really formed in a large part to help young people, and I'm talking high school, college age,
right,
who wanted to pursue careers in technology, and at the same time did not want to be in the closet, or wanted to just be open about who they are in that environment. So it's a birds of a feather kind of organization. And right now what I'm doing with them, they have a mentoring program, and for high school, college age, and I'm working on developing a quasi mentoring / coaching program for people over 30 who are members of Out in Tech.
Well, you kind of answered the question that we had in our networking one about how being out and being a coach merged. And I just want to ask, how did you come upon being a coach? What brought that to your interest?
Probably just a combination of factors. Number one, my nature, having been around in technology for such a very, very long time, and having managed groups, and again, having to work one-on-one with people, and trying to think how to sort of summarize it quickly. It's been a part of my nature to function that way in and out of the business environment, and so it was a very natural progression. And as I was saying before, the more I wind up working one-on-one with people, and maybe because I'm getting older, in a way, it's sort of like the more satisfaction I get. Although I will do group meetings and group things like that, but I just like seeing the ability to have somebody have that aha moment, come up for themselves.
Awesome. Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. You probably, there's a few other people on this call that also feel that it was like, oh, I already do that. Or once they really got to know what coaching was, it's like, oh, I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And now you can focus on it and spend more time on it. And I guess the teaching aspect of your life too probably led you to, because you want to teach them so they'll keep it. We want to coach people so they'll have the responsibility and the aha moments, not us, right?
Right. Yeah. So they own it. The other piece I left out is that there's been a large piece of my work which shifted into becoming a facilitator. It's sort of like when you can juggle so many things at once, So you can hold so many different kinds of meetings, and you've worked in so many different aspects of a business. You start to notice really, really smart ways of getting people to agreement or moving things forward. And really about 2010 or 11, I focused on becoming a core of my business, even though I call it consulting, is based on facilitation, the facilitation practice. And from the facilitation practice, the coaching is facilitation is very much within the group environment, and also has very specific, narrow type of agenda types of things. And the coaching is a very natural extension of that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure I see some nodding heads on that too. And Tim saying, remember in the 1990s, what was that? In the 1990s, there was a gay tech digital queers.
I was a digital queer.
Oh, well, there you go. We got one in the
Absolutely. I was a
crowd.
digital queer. I remember it starting up in New York. Yeah, it must have been mid-90s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was edgy stuff back then. You
Yeah.
truly were pioneers, and it wasn't safe everywhere to do that. Even
Nope.
though technology seemed to be one of the leading edge companies or industries.
No, but I was very ballsy, and
Yeah.
and I'll be honest. So I was I left Apple, and in 1991, I wound up working for a major pharmaceutical communications conglomerate in Manhattan, and I moved into the West Village, and I shifted into living in leather in about 1993. So I walked into work. I was basically running a graphics lab, we called it, which was a whole digital environment to do communications. In full leather gear, and everybody was sort of like, it's Manhattan. And the advertising business was full of coke heads in the 80s, so I guess it's okay. So Digital Queers was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do GMSMA, Gay Male SM Activist, and I'll do Digital Queers. What the hell?
I love
and
it.
I can only say that to this group, and you'll go,
exactly.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So
totally.
it's not your LinkedIn profile. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There are hints of it actually in my LinkedIn profile. If you dig deep enough, it's a long LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you'll find it. Maybe you won't.
Now we know.
We'll see. I'm going to shift gears here. I think one of the things that really stood out for me in knowing you that I want to know more, because it relates to my childhood, is this Lego serious play.
Okay.
Tell us more about that.
Okay. So it's really interesting because from the facilitation side, I'm a visual facilitator, and that means that I don't just stand in the room and talk, and I don't really just take written notes on pads. That's typical facilitation. With visual facilitation, it means I'm using visual templates on the one hand, and also doing a lot of drawing or inviting people to doodle or use images or pictures. So it's a very natural progression for me to have shifted from that to doing more, I'll call it kinesthetic type of work or somatic type of work. Once again, we're shifting into the coaching, right? So they blend together so well. And moving even further into that, I discovered that Lego Serious Play had been created as a process around 2000. And it's about using the bricks to create models to represent essentially embodied metaphors of what you're thinking about or what you want to talk about. And the process is a combination of building the models and then storytelling. So it's perfect. It's just absolutely phenomenal way to uncover, if you know your Joe Harry Window stuff, right? The unknown unknowns. How do you push that out of people's minds? They don't even know what they don't know. And as I say, the kinesthetic activity of building with your hands, of thinking with your hands, and then the storytelling that emerges out of it as you explain what's inside the model is phenomenally productive, and many ways. So once again, I said, well, if this is a real process, and I think it is, I'm going to make the investment in both understanding the theoretical underpinnings of it very deeply, and also, getting the certification in it, so I can get my hands on a lot of these. They make these kits. Lego had put together a couple of kits to do it, and that's kind of the core. That's kind of the core around it. So that was the natural progression from being someone who was doing a lot of this drawing on the wall and having people draw along with me. And now I find it's even faster in a certain way to get people to think in this amazing way by having the bricks at hands and not come up against the resistance of I can't draw, or you draw better than I do, or all these other excuses, for not coming out of their shell.
Or I build better than you do with Lego.
Well, I get a little bit. You get a little bit of that, but there's a way of progressing people so that they don't necessarily, get shown up. Not at the beginning, anyway.
Yeah. And who gets the piece that makes the big difference?
Right. Well,
not really. Awesome. Give some examples of ahas that you've had using the Lego Serious Play.
Oh gosh, I think the biggest one, for me as a facilitator is the stepping back, and giving people the time to work their stuff out. It's funny, as a facilitator, or as a designer, or as a leader, you have a natural tendency to, I have a natural tendency to, and you could probably see it in my nature, push. We're moving towards something, we're trying to get somewhere, and to allow myself and to allow people to just be. No formation. I'm not forming you.
Yeah.
You're forming you.
Well, again,
it
very
takes time, right?
Very coach-like, like letting people have their own experience. You're like you say, you're the facilitator. You're the, the impetus for it. You just give them the tools and let them have their life. Yeah. As we say in coaching, the client is the expert in their lives, right?
It's truly that. It's truly that. And so, as I say, so it's the aha moments are, they happen every single time, and they happen in the groups, and I also I've adapted to using Lego Serious Play with clients. I take just a very small kit, not mountains and mountains of pieces, and just give them enough to, as I say, to allow me to sort of step back, and give them the space to, to come up with things. And it's just amazingly surprising how, massive emotional outbursts happen, and you've built this nothing out of 5 pieces of Lego. It's like just amazing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the times, I think I learned this in ORSC, is when there's like a third entity. So it's not you, it's not them, it's this thing in the center. It's the same, even in couples therapy and stuff like that. Had that experience last year. It's like, okay, so it's not about you, and it's not about you. It's about the issue or the topic or how you feel about that thing. Right. So you're giving them that thing to play with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
And within the certification, within the proper training of Lego Serious Play, you are reminded over and over and over that you're always only talking, and even when you photograph it or document it, don't document the person. It's always about the embodied, that's why I use the term, the embodied metaphor. That's what we're about when we're doing Lego serious play. We're the thing, as it were, you know. So
is that going to be your presentation at the live event? Hint, hint. Just saying, not putting you on the spot or anything. You're on the committee. You got an easy in to get your name on the list.
I would absolutely love to do that. I've got plenty of Lego.
My mom still has mine. I can bring it if you need extra. Okay.
I actually did a conference. It was an unconference, and I wound up slipping Lego Serious Play into not only a presentation I did, but two other presentations. I said, you know, they said, "This is fantastic. Can I add this?" I said, "Sure." Dragged out, and I had a whole suitcase full of it.
Of course you did.
50, and it was just amazing, you know, the variations that people could come up with of the questions that they ask and the results that they get. So sure.
And I just want to do a quick poll. How many here had Lego as a child or an adult? Pretty much everybody.
Yay!
Yay! Or some sort of brickwork. How's that?
Wait, Alan.
You still does.
Mark, is it Alan or Mark? No, it's Mark. Yeah, I haven't had I have two of them. I haven't had a chance to unbox it yet, Mark.
It's great. It's the gay pride one. I love it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Designed by a gay man.
I hope so. And didn't they just come out with one based on a celebrity? Like a Jerry Seinfeld or a Friends Lego or something like that? I just heard that.
Yeah, that's the whole Friends Legos thing, you know. I'm waiting for the Marsha P. Johnson Lego. God help us. Oh, please.
Okay, so it's time for us to have a little fun. You promised us a little interactivity.
Okay.
So under the topic of you as a certified visual facilitator,
yes,
can you wazzle dazzle us with a little something?
I can actually get your hands in action, I hope.
We're allowed to go on our keyboard?
You are more than allowed to go on your keyboard. I'm going to put a link. Let me just make sure I have. There we go.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark, you're also killing me.
Ah!
There's my screen, Jack.
We need to talk. We need to hang out.
See? So in the chat, folks, there's a link to the G. Excuse me. And Dean, you're going to tell us what to do.
Yep. So I want to invite you into this link, and it's an online whiteboard. Just by the way, how much time do I have for this? So I know.
I think we have. Mark, what do you think? In total, including Q&A, we have what, 10 or 15?
We can go till about 10 minutes past the hour.
There we go.
Okay. Okay. I have my big Alzheimer's clock on the wall. It says Thursday afternoon, 4:49 p.m., July 8, 2021. And I will try not to go over. So as people are joining this, this link takes you to an online interactive whiteboard software, which will run in your browser. There's also a version of it that will run on pretty well on an iPad and maybe run on a large phone type unit. The idea being that this is a way that I can get people to work with me remotely pretty quickly on some very dense stuff. The whiteboard itself, here's the magic. The whiteboard itself is not the magic, right? You are the magic. You know,
I'm getting dizzy here. Guys, stop your cursors.
There you go. We have, how many have we got in here so far? I've got 15 people online, and we've got 15. Wow, we got 15 in Zoom, and we got 15 in Mural. Do you want me to share the Mural at the same time in Zoom? Would that help?
You know what? I think that might be a good idea.
It gets a little confusing sometimes, but I will do it.
Let's try it out.
You notice? You notice I'm asking permission.
Great facilitation.
Right, and also I'm warning Mark that your sound effects will now go away. I'm sorry to tell you, you will not be able to.
I see that. That's okay.
But just
Your
keeping
show.
everybody informed. So what I'm sharing is my screen. Do not be confused in that. Don't try and do anything on my screen that I'm sharing. You have to work in your web browser screen, so that can be confusing, but I will try and guide you through this. First off, let me explain what I've done. This is a mural that I have used to do a basic webinar in design thinking principles and methods. I am not going to take you through that in 10 minutes, and I've actually taken pieces out and added some pieces in to just kind of cover some really quick and dirty stuff to give you an idea. But the point being that I wanted to show you just a little bit of, you know, of how I work remotely with groups, and also some of the, maybe give you some tips of some thinking ideas about, once again, it's not the toolkit as much as how you set things up to get people to engage, because that's frankly far more important. So now I'm going in training mode. So you see, I typically build all of my meetings. You know what your outcomes are. You know what your agenda is. I give you guiding principles. You notice I use visuals all the time. The beach ball idea, I want to tell you these principles. The beach ball idea is that we all have different opinions based on the information that we know, or very much, you know, our biases are based on what we see and what we understand. If you're standing on one side of the beach ball, you will probably just see red stripes, so you will automatically assume the beach ball is probably red, but you don't know what else it might be. If you're standing on the other side of the beach ball, and I would normally in the room be drawing in that big yellow space, I would draw a little fellow or a person who would be looking at the yellow side. So please be aware that you may be only seeing one side of the beach ball, but we're talking about the same thing when it comes to the big picture. Balcony versus dance floor view. Balcony is looking down from the 50,000 view, and getting onto the dance floors where we look at the steps, and we want to try and balance going back and forth. The drinking horn story is that this is a quick one that on a Viking, at the end of a big Viking hunt, they would all sit down and gather together and sit and drink out of this drinking horn. And the idea was to make sure that there was always enough left so that everybody, as you would drink, you would moderate to be aware that you wanted to leave something over for everybody else in the room, which is really important when you do breakout rooms, my friends. Please remember that if you tell everybody that you've got a 5-minute breakout room, please plan accordingly how much time you're going to talk if everybody's asked to speak. It always goes south. Good enough push on. It's a rule of just getting out of the weeds, or trying to not let the perfectionists take over. GEPO, the rule of GEPO. And 5-finger voting and gradients of agreement. Again, a way to get every voice in the room heard, and you'll say, we will accept everybody from a 3 and above. If we have any 1s or 2s, we want to hear from the 1s or 2s. It doesn't mean we'll necessarily change everything, but we are going to at least listen to what you have to say. I've thrown up a friend of mine, Ben Crothers. He's put out this during the pandemic. He put this out, 50 remote friendly icebreakers. Blah, blah, blah. This is more about visual note taking. Quick in the chat, is anybody unfamiliar? Has anybody not used Mural or Miro or one of these similar types of things? You can either chat. Okay, great. All right. So a really, really quick start. Things to know about Mural. The most important thing probably is, first off, how to get around in this thing, right? So I've just shown you in a straightforward demonstration way, but now I'm going to ask you, or pardon my New York accent coming out so strongly, I'm going to retreat visually to show you the size of this particular whiteboard. Now it's quite large, and you notice I've really focused on one small portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can navigate. The murals can be of very, very large sizes to hold very, very large amounts of content in them, or they can be rather small. And we navigate through them using your, you can use your mouse, you can click. If you look down at the bottom right-hand side, you'll see that there are navigation controls in order to get around quickly. So I'm very quickly sort of zooming in and out by pulling down at the bottom. I also have a wheel. You can use the wheel on your mouse if you have a PC type mouse. If you are using a touch screen, you can pull open with your, usually it's a 2-finger pull open. So this is how you get around. So the very first thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to check in all right. Now, I'm going to now summon you all to come and join me. And this is a control that I have. There we go.
We've been
everybody
summoned.
now. Everybody, you see that your screen, you've all been pulled to where I am. And you see where it says, please check in. If you click and drag, as I am doing, to where you are, when you release, you'll see that you can actually change the size of these little pins, and you can put your name and location. If you click inside, you can double click where it says name, location, and type your name and where you are. And I'm going to drag my pin. If you see that the little element, once I've clicked on one of them, there we go. You should be able to click on them.
What's happening when I'm double clicking on them?
Sorry, there, I've released everyone. You should be able to, there we go. There we go. Matthew, Paul. And again, you can drag in and make yours smaller. So Mark, I'm going to make yours a little bit smaller.
Aw.
Oh, I'm going to come down. I'm going to make
mine. Oh, there's a size queen in the room.
Make mine bigger. Make mine bigger.
Don't we all wish, honey?
I'll just make it brighter. Because you want to shine.
There you
go. Shine. You want to shine, shine, shine. I know.
Now, this will be really cool. Like, I mean, other than Matthew and myself being out of country, it gets a little crowded because it's US. But when you're doing this with a group that's global, can you imagine? It's just so, gives such perspective to your team, your group, or the people that are in the session.
Absolutely. And by the way, if we need more of them, I'm going to grab somebody's and duplicate it. There we go. There's some more. And just double click on the name. Matthew, you're my lucky clone. I'm just cloning more of them.
Mm-hmm.
But other people who haven't had a chance to can fill in.
Cool.
So you see, it's openly editable by anybody, which means also, once again, we're now able to all work together too.
Now, what's the maximum you could, like, this is a little like wild watching this all happen. What's a comfortable group? Is this a comfortable group? What's the most you've ever done doing something like this?
I've had 80 in. Now
80.
you can turn off watching everybody's. you can turn off your own cursors broadcasting so that you can see, or you can hide cursors. Do you see how I've on my
Got
screen?
it. I just turned off my cursor.
You can turn it back on.
No, I like it that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Keeps you from cursing.
Eggs. Drum roll. No, he can't. Oh, he can.
He cheated.
No, he cheated. Awesome.
I'm gonna actually
out too.
I'm gonna pull out of this area.
That's what
I'm gonna show you another thing I do all the time. This is another kind of team building activity I do.
Who put Kim on the map? That's awesome.
Oh, blow him up.
All right, I'm gonna pull everybody to me now. This, I was at the conference, the last virtual conference, and everybody did an exam on. Not everybody, but you were invited to do a profile, and I think that profiling or personality preferences and things like that, they're, again, great team building exercises. You can create sticky notes by just double clicking. I'm showing you how to use Mural while you use Mural. If you double click, you see you've created a sticky, and you can click in it, start typing, and put your name, if you would. And then on this wheel, this is yet another variation of a type of personality preferences. And if you would identify where you are most comfortable, and just put it somewhere in the wheel, and you can go closer to the center, further towards the edge. You can go leaning in between two areas, so on and so forth. And once again, this is doing this in the room. I've done this in the room with people with giant stickies, and I make a gigantic poster on the wall. And we have a saying, those of us who do a lot of this all the time, if you can do it in the room, you can do it online. Particularly if you're using all these visual tools.
Oh, Jerry and Matthew and I all in the idea finding. Nobody likes planning.
I'm allergic to planning.
Well, you can call me.
I'm going to
like
stick
planning.
myself right dead center. There we go.
Oh,
I like all that stuff. That's how I'm feeling today. Especially now that now you all know that I'm going to be involved with logistics. I better not. I better make sure the lights are turned on when you get up to Easton Mountain, right?
no kidding.
I'm trying to see. I want to just show you some other things I've done with it. A really quick. I don't know if I have 16 here, but I'll start off. But this is a word jumble, and what you can do is you can drag the letters, and they will. There you go. They'll pop in, and they can shift around. Sorry, one got stuck behind. There we go.
Yeah, where'd the W go?
There.
I wanted to spell welcome.
Whoop.
Oh, they're all gone.
I've just got to move this to the back. 1 second.
Just on timing, we got about 5 minutes left before 5:10.
Yep. There we go. Sorry.
Ah, there it is.
Sorry. I will.
Agla Clottened. There we go.
I'm actually going to put the word in that it's supposed to be.
Oh, acknowledgement.
Yes. There you go. Good for you. All right. I will quickly scoot along because we only have a couple of minutes, and I just want to sort of show you some of the other ideas. So again, I use a lot of these visual templates. This one is very popular. Let me put this aside. This one's very popular from the Luma Institute. And this is a complicated exercise, this big graphic here. But you see, using the visuals, I just put all the visuals on the side and people drag them in. And then build all the rest. There's a timeline.
Lego.
Yep, there's the Lego Series Play. This is very popular, Rosebud Thorn for discussion. And you can do
what went well, what didn't go well.
Right. So
observations, right?
So to combine the best of Zoom and the best of Mural, and I'll end with this, is you see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are six groups, and I would do 6 breakout groups, because then each group would use their own visual matrix, right? So in the breakout room, you have a group of 4 or 6 working on each of those, and then you bring them back into the general room and the plenary, and you have the group conversation, and you bring it all to the big one.
Wow.
So that's a quick method, and the quick and dirty on Lego Serious Play, and then you can do Q&A. There's a very fat me running a group, and that's what one small box of Lego Serious Play kit looks like. This is the process, and down below is. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Wow. So sorry, I've like colored objects, lots of stuff. You really know your stuff. I am really, Dean, looking forward to you using this for an exercise with us, either virtually in the conference or doing our Lego or other stuff live. You are, I can't say it enough. I just learned so much about you every time, and now I want to know more. And just a huge thank you for taking the time to be with us today and showing us what's possible, right? Like, it was not enough time to really get into it, but it's like, oh, you can do that. Oh, and I'm sure a lot of guys that have used it and stuff, or are facilitators, they're getting your ideas of how to engage your audience, facilitate, have fun, and get results. Now, anybody have any questions for Dean?
The other Mark.
The other Mark. They're both in New York, okay?
We both have stream decks. Beware.
Exactly.
You got a problem with that, Garry?
No, none at all. No.
Right.
So how does one get training and certification, or do you have to be certified in the Lego Play?
There is a certification process that there are a handful of organizations offer. there is a Lego Serious Play version 1 and there's a Lego Serious Play version 2, but Lego Serious Play is actually in Creative Commons. So the certification itself is great on the one hand, that you really get an underpinning of the theory and understanding and some practice, compressed, very compressed. And it doesn't make you a great facilitator. You learn the mechanics of the facilitation. And then after that, you're on your own. You can buy books on it and do it, and that's absolutely fun. The one thing that certification allows you to do is to actually buy the pre-made kits in unlimited quantities from Lego. That is the one hangover that Lego kept. But you can go out and buy your own tons of Lego and run Lego Serious Play on your own without any certification if you like.
Cool. Any other questions, guys? Well, again, Dean, like,
Yikes.
wow. You know, your hat closet must be full of all the different hats you wear. That's all I have to say.
That is a dangerous comment, but yes, it is.
Well, thank you again for being here today and sharing some of this. I'm inspired to learn some more and see some more from you. Thank you so much for your support in the conference. The guys really need it, and Chris looked thrilled to be able to announce that you were on board. So you've wowed them as you've wowed us. So thank you again. Mark?